My beloved child, listen to the call that is resounding not from the outside, but from the deepest place within your soul. I am not calling you to condemn you, nor am I drawing near to place another burden upon shoulders already weary. I am calling you because I love you, because I see the layers of mist slowly covering your vision, and I cannot bear to let you keep walking down a path that seems smooth, yet whose end is filled with deep pits. There were days when I touched you with the gentleness of morning, when the first light slipped through the window and your heart suddenly grew still in a strangely tender moment. There were nights when I stirred you through the sound of falling rain, through the long silence after an event, through a casual sentence that made your heart ache as though it had been awakened. But my child, your heart has been pulled away by too many other voices. The world knows how to make what is false appear trustworthy, how to cover darkness with a shining garment, how to make a snare carry the fragrance of opportunity. Therefore, I remind you as a father bending down beside his beloved child, watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. Matthew 26:41. Not everything that makes you smile heals you. Not every hand extended toward you truly wants to lift you up. Not every open door is the path I have prepared for you. Look more carefully at the unrest, quietly moving within your heart. Do not quickly push it away as a weak emotion. And do not blame yourself because you cannot yet remain calm before what is unfolding. Sometimes that uneasiness is the bell I have placed within your soul, ringing to warn you that you are near something impure, a promise without roots, a sweetness that contains no true love. I do not sow chaotic fear in you, but I may allow your conscience to tremble when it touches something contrary to the light. You were created for truth. So, when you remain too long among falsehood, your soul will begin to thirst. Like cracked earth longing for rain from heaven, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. Truth does not always come with a pleasant sound, but it unlocks prisons you have grown so accustomed to that you have mistaken them for home. There are chains that make no clanging sound because they are wrapped in velvet. There are traps that do not wound you immediately because they are sprinkled with honey on the outside. There are lies that do not feel harsh because they are spoken in a tender voice. But whatever pulls you away from me causes you to lose purity, or makes you trade holy peace for temporary satisfaction. No matter how beautiful it appears, you must recognize its true nature. Remember the story of Joshua and the people of Israel when the Gibeonites came before them with old clothes, moldy bread, and torn wineskins, pretending to have come from a far country in order to make a covenant. Every outward sign seemed convincing: worn-out supplies, humble words, and the weary appearance of a long journey. But Scripture says that the people accepted their provisions and did not ask counsel of the Lord. Joshua 9:14. Do you see, my child, just one moment of not asking me, one decision based on outward appearance, one act of trusting what the eyes saw without bringing it into my light, and they were deceived by a carefully crafted disguise. I tell you this not so that you would become suspicious of everyone, but so that you would learn to live watchfully. Kindness does not mean naivety. Compassion does not mean opening the door to everything. Faith is not believing every voice that speaks in the name of goodness. True faith knows how to bow its head and ask the Father before entering into covenant with anything. It knows how to wait for my peace before moving forward. It knows that even an old piece of bread and a torn garment can be part of a performance if you do not let me shine light upon it. My beloved, I know there have been voices that once caressed your wounds. They came at the very moment you were lonely, said exactly what you wanted to hear, and promised you a quick escape, easy recognition, and the feeling of being understood without needing to be tested. You thought it was a blessing, because a weary heart often mistakes attention for love, sweet words for healing, and a wide door for the way of life. But I speak to you with gentleness, Learn to distinguish the fragrance of the Holy Spirit from the scent of seduction. Beware of false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. Matthew 7:15. A wolf does not always come with a roar. Many times it comes with a soft voice. Darkness does not always appear as an abyss. Many times it appears as a shortcut. The most dangerous thing is not what you immediately recognize as wrong, but what is only slightly distorted yet enough to pull you away from the holy path. Therefore, do not merely ask, "Does this make me happy?" Ask instead, "Does this draw me closer to me? Does it make me purer, humbler, more loving, and more faithful?" I want you to understand that truth does not come to make you lose everything, but to return you to yourself in the light. When the veil falls, it may hurt to realize that what you once trusted was not as firm as you thought. You may grieve because you gave time, tears, and hope to things that were unworthy. But my child, do not fear that moment of awakening. The pain of truth is a pain that opens the way for healing, while the comfort of lies is a bed placed in a room already burning. I would rather let you hurt once when light exposes what is false than let you sleep peacefully in the arms of what is silently stealing your soul. God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. 1 John 1:5. When you move toward me, darkness no longer has the power to define you. The days behind you may contain mistakes, but they are not the final sentence over your life. Truth will not crush you if you allow me to hold your hand. It will cleanse your eyes, rebuild your heart, and teach you to recognize what is the voice of the Father and what is the voice of one who only wants to exploit your thirst. Therefore, today I call you out of the haze with love, not with a whip. Stop before chasing another promise. Bring every relationship, every opportunity, every voice, and every attraction surrounding you under the light of my word. Do not let loneliness decide for you. Do not let the fear of missing out cause you to grasp what does not belong to you. Do not let a few pleasant words make you forget that true peace always walks together with holiness. If something makes you hide, causes you to lose integrity, pulls you away from prayer, or makes you neglect my word, then have the courage to lay it down. I do not take good things away from you. I only remove from your hands the things disguised as blessings but truly carrying burdens. When you return, I do not ask why you wandered for so long. I open the robe of mercy over you and lead you back to safety. Just as the father in the story of the prodigal son ran out to embrace his child while he was still far away, I also run toward you with unfailing kindness, because I rejoice when you awaken and remember the way home. My child, the light is nearer than you think. All you need is to honestly say, "Father, please, let me see what I need to see," even if it requires me to change. And the door of deliverance has already begun to open. I will not give you light and then leave you standing alone among the ruins. I will teach you step by step to step out of the noise, out of the lies, out of the bonds decorated with honeyed sweetness, and into the freedom founded upon truth. Then you will realize that true peace does not need to shout to prove itself. It comes like clear water, washing away weariness, soothing fear, and restoring to you eyes that can see all things in my light. Wake up, O soul whom I love, not because time is running out in despair, but because grace is calling you at the right moment. Open your eyes, turn back, and let truth unfasten your chains, for you were not born to live beneath the deceptive garment of darkness, but to walk as a child of light, loved by me, guided by me, and kept by me until the end. My beloved child, pause in this moment, not with the panic of one who has heard bad news, but with the stillness of a soul being called back beneath the shadow of wings of peace. I know you have passed through many days when your mind felt like a room filled with wind, where questions collided with one another, where anxiety whispered that you were delayed, off course, and abandoned in the middle of a journey too vast for you. But my child, what you do not yet understand does not mean I am not working. What you do not yet see does not mean heaven has closed. What you feel as distance cannot make my love become distant. I have been with you since before you knew how to call my name. I preserved you in the days when you thought you were standing by your own strength. I covered you even when you did not recognize my hand. My word declared in Joshua 1:9 that you should be strong and courageous, not afraid or dismayed. Because I am with you wherever you go, that word is not an old echo from the past, but a living breath I place upon your soul today. My child, your eyes often look at life as scattered fragments, a closed door, a failed plan, a fractured relationship, an unanswered prayer, a path covered in fog. But I do not see with eyes limited by time. I see the beginning and the end at once. I see you not only in this moment of weakness, but also in the image of who you will become restored, lifted up, and made firm after passing through the season of testing. You see a crack and call it brokenness. I see where the light will enter. You see loss and call it the end. I see cleared ground where something new can be planted. You see tears falling. I see seeds being watered by the sincerity of a heart that knows how to call upon me. Therefore, do not rush to draw conclusions about your life while you are still standing in the middle of the chapter. I am the author, and I have not finished writing your story. There are things that come to you which seem accidental on the surface, but in my hand, nothing is without purpose. A timely meeting, a delay that irritates you, a rejection that wounds you, a door that closes just when you thought you had stepped through it. All of these may be threads I am weaving into the garment of your destiny. You do not see the deep pits hidden behind a path that appears smooth. You do not recognize the traps covered with beautiful flowers. You cannot hear the whispers of dangers hidden behind what seems favorable. But I see, and because I see, sometimes I hold you back because I love you. Sometimes I do not give you what you plead for because I know tomorrow. Sometimes I close what today you think is a blessing. Proverbs 3:5-6 teaches you to trust in me with all your heart, not to lean on your own understanding, to acknowledge me in all your ways, and I will direct your paths. My beloved, that guidance is sometimes an open door, but sometimes it is a door locked by mercy. Remember the story of Joseph, the young man who received dreams from me, yet was thrown into a pit, sold away, misunderstood, imprisoned, and forgotten by those who had promised to remember him. If you looked only at each short segment, you would think Joseph's life was a chain of unanswered injustice. But I saw Egypt before Joseph ever set foot there. I saw the famine before the fields became dry. I saw a nation that needed to be saved before his brothers bowed down in their lack. What people meant for harm, I turned into good, as Genesis 50:20 reveals. Do you understand? My beloved, there are paths I lead you through that do not look glorious in the eyes of the world, yet they bring you to the exact place where I want to use your life. The pit cannot defeat the promise. Prison cannot lock away purpose. Human forgetfulness cannot erase my memory of you. Therefore, when you feel surrounded by things unclear and misty, do not treat that mist as proof that I have gone far away. Sometimes the cloud that hides your view is the very shadow of my presence covering you. The people of Israel in the wilderness did not always have a map in their hands, but they had the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. I did not give them the entire route all at once, but I gave them my presence day by day. It is the same with you. I may not show you the whole journey, because if you saw everything, your heart might become afraid before the turns for which you have not yet received enough grace. But I give you enough light for the next step, enough strength for today, and enough peace for this moment. Psalm 119:105 says that my word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. That lamp does not always illuminate the far horizon, but it is always enough to keep you from stumbling as you place your foot into the next step. I know you have cried over something lost, bowed your head before disappointment, and wondered why what you hoped for shattered in your hands like a fragile clay vessel. But my child, not every breaking is a disaster. There are vessels that must be remade in order to hold new oil. There are houses within you that must be taken down so I can build a stronger foundation. There are desires that must be purified so you will not chase what sparkles while losing what is holy. I am not destroying you. I am remaking you. I am not taking away so that you become poor. I am making room to give what is right in time, right in nature, and right for the purpose of your life. Isaiah 61 speaks of me giving a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of heaviness. Let that word soak into the place where you are hurting, because ashes in my hand are not the final ending. They can become the beginning of a new beauty. So, my beloved, do not let anxiety become your teacher. It only knows how to teach you to look down into the pit, magnify darkness, and forget the hand that is holding you. Let me teach you to see with the eyes of faith. When you do not understand, say, Father knows what I do not know. When you cannot see the way, say, Father is the way. When you have not yet received the answer, say, Father is still faithful. Philippians 4:6-7 reminds you not to be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, to present your requests to me, then my peace, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind. Do you see? My peace does not wait until every question disappears before it comes. It comes to guard you even while the questions remain. My child, I am turning what you thought was darkness into a place where light will be revealed. I am transforming the turns you thought were detours into pathways leading you toward wisdom. I am gathering every tear you have shed, not allowing them to disappear into cold ground, but using them to water the harvest, quietly growing beneath the surface. One day, you will look back and realize there were things I did not allow to happen because I saved you from what you never knew. There were people I removed from your life because I was guarding your heart from bondage. There were delays I permitted because I was preparing both you and the blessing you are about to receive. Then you will no longer call everything coincidence, but you will see my fingerprints on every turn. You will understand that I was never silent in the sense of abandonment. I was simply working in depths your ears had not yet heard and your eyes had not yet seen. Now, let your soul rest in me. Do not try to carry the whole picture when you have only been entrusted with walking faithfully in today's portion. I hold your past with forgiveness, your present with grace, and your future with unshakable power. You do not need to understand everything in order to have peace. You only need to know that I am your Father. You do not need to see everything before you dare to continue. You only need to trust that my hand will not let you go. Rise gently, like someone who has just remembered that they are not an orphan. Keep walking slowly, yet firmly. For from the beginning to the end, your life still rests in the palm of my hand, and what I am doing, though hidden today, will one day appear like the dawn after a long night, radiant, gentle, and filled with mercy reserved especially for you. O my beloved child, let your heart become still and listen with the deepest part of your soul, because what you are receiving today is not a random echo among the noises of life. There are moments I place on your path like a lamp in the night, so that when you think you are merely passing through an ordinary day, you touch a milestone that was written in my plan from the beginning. You may think you happen to hear this word by chance, happen to pause at this moment, happen to feel your heart stirred by a reminder, but I speak to you that in my hand, what you call coincidence is often guidance, clothed in simplicity. The steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, Psalm 37:23. And I have ordered your steps, even the ones you thought were slow, misguided, or too small to matter. My child, do not let wonder make your heart restless, and do not ask why it is you, because I do not see you as you often see yourself. You often count your shortcomings, remember your weaknesses, and measure your worth by what others can see. But I look at you from the hidden place, where silent tears have become prayers, where every time you tried to rise became evidence of faith, and where the cracks in your heart are the very places through which my light can enter. Before you understood where you were being called to go, I already knew how you needed to be prepared. Before you saw the door open, I was quietly forging the key in your hand through seasons of waiting, nights of uncertainty, and days when it seemed nothing was changing. There were seasons when you thought you were merely existing, simply passing through each day with repeated tasks, familiar responsibilities, and unnamed worries. But I want you to look back with new eyes. No day in my hand is useless. When you must be patient with what makes you tired, I am teaching you endurance. When you must remain silent before what hurts you, I am teaching you maturity. When you lose something you once clung to, I am opening your hands to receive something greater. When you are placed in circumstances you cannot control, I am leading you to learn surrender. Just as the potter does not hate the clay when he places it on the wheel, I have not abandoned you when I allow you to pass through pressure. It is within that motion that seems dizzying that a new form is born. As the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, Jeremiah 18:6. You are in my hand, not in the hand of chaos. I know there have been times when you looked at ashes and thought everything had ended. You looked at a dream grown cold. A relationship changed. An opportunity passed. A part of your heart that once was full of hope, now quiet. And you wondered whether I was still working. But my beloved, ashes are not always proof of destruction. Sometimes they are the sign that an old season has burned away to make room for a new seed. I am the one who can give beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Isaiah 61:3. Do not look only at what has been lost and forget that my hand is still gathering what remains. What the world calls brokenness, I can turn into a foundation. What you call delay, I can use as a time of ripening. What you call failure, I can turn into a holy lesson that prepares you to stand again with greater strength. Remember Moses, who once thought he was only a wanderer in the wilderness, shepherding a flock that was not his own, living through years that seemed forgotten after the palace and after his old mistakes. But while Moses thought his life had turned onto a smaller path with no great calling left, I was still preparing him in silence. The wilderness taught him to listen. Solitude taught him humility. The rocky paths taught him to lead sheep before leading an entire people. Then one day, a bush burned without being consumed, and my voice called his name in the wilderness. Do you see? The place that seemed like forgetfulness became the place of revelation. The season that seemed like delay was in fact the school of sending. In the same way, my child, the years when you thought you were walking in circles were not meaningless. I used them to soften what needed softening, strengthen what needed strengthening, and separate you from the noise so that you could recognize my voice more clearly. Therefore, when I say that you are stepping into the next order of my divine plan, I do not say this so that you would become proud, but so that you would become watchful. To be called does not mean being placed high so that others may admire you. To be called means being placed rightly so that my light may pass through you. Do not be afraid if you feel you are not ready enough. Those whom I use are not always those who see themselves as the strongest, but those who allow me to lead them the most. David was anointed while he was still a youth in the fields. Jeremiah once said he was too young. Mary was only a humble servant girl in Nazareth when the angel's word came to her. But my grace does not seek perfection before it begins. My grace begins, then gradually completes the one who is willing to obey. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Therefore, your weakness does not surprise me, nor does it make me change my mind. Perhaps you still do not fully understand why certain encounters came and went, why some closed doors caused you pain, or why there are prayers I have not answered in the way you desired. But I am weaving a tapestry from the backside, where you see only tangled threads, while I see the complete design. One day, when I allow you to look back, you will realize that even the tears had their place, even the waiting had its voice, and even the detours led you away from what you were not strong enough to see at the time. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, Romans 8:28. Not all things are pleasant in themselves, but in my hand, all things can be woven together to bring forth good. Now, what I need from you is not haste, but willingness. Do not run ahead of me because you are eager to prove something, and do not step back because you fear you are unworthy. Walk with me with a tender heart. When I open the door, enter with humility. When I tell you to wait, wait without letting your heart become bitter. When I take something old from your hand, trust that my hand never removes in order to leave you empty, but to make room for what is right in its appointed time. You are standing before a season of movement, but that movement will first begin within. I will realign the way you see yourself. Heal the places where you are still afraid. Cleanse the motives still mixed with anxiety, and place within you a peace that does not depend on the praise or recognition of people. My beloved, your time is not a time to lift yourself up, but a time to let me lift you in my way. Do not despise the small signs, a prompting to pray more, a longing to live more purely, a new door beginning to open, a person brought at the right moment, an uneasiness in your heart toward things that once satisfied you. These may be bells I use to awaken you. Keep your heart pure, because what I am about to do needs a vessel washed by obedience. Keep your mouth from words of despair, because you cannot enter a new season with the language of the old one. Keep your eyes from looking only at the ashes, because I am preparing you to see green shoots. So rise in faith, not with noise, but with a quiet and steadfast decision that you will trust me more than your fear. I was with you in the darkness, and I will also be with you when the light begins to dawn. I taught you in the wilderness, and I will also lead you when you step into the place of your sending. I preserved you through the fire, and I will make it so that you no longer carry the smell of burning from your pain, but the fragrance of grace. He has made everything beautiful in its time, Ecclesiastes 3:11. And my child, when my appointed time touches your life, no power can stop what I have ordained. Be at peace, stay watchful, and open your heart. What I have begun in you, I will bring to completion. You only need to hold my hand and keep walking.